In the distance there is a hunched little man, a railway worker. Salvatore takes a better look. He recognizes that man, despite the bent shoulders, the face lined with 40 years of wrinkles. Why, of course, it's Giovanni, his friend, his schoolmate. He waves to him, anxiously approaches, and with trembling hand points to his own face, as if to say, "It's me." Giovanni looks at him, shows no sign of recognition, then thrusts out his chin in a greeting. "Hey there, Salvatore, where are you off to?" In the great Alessandrian desert, adolescence can be fevered. 1942, I am on my bike, between 2 and 5 on a July afternoon. I am looking for something. From the citadel to the track, then from the track to the gardens, and from the gardens towards the station. I cut across Piazza Garibaldi, circumnavigate the penitentiary, and head off again towards the Fenaro, but this time going through the city center. Nobody to be seen. I have a firm destination, the station magazine stand, where I have seen a cheap paperback edition, no longer new, of a story, translated from the French, that looks fascinating. It costs 1 lira, and I have exactly 1 lira in my pocket. Shall I buy it, or not? The other shops are closed, or seem to be. My friends are on vacation. Alessandria is only space, sun, a track for my bike with its pocked tires. The little book at the station is the only hope of narrative, and hence of reality. Many years later I would have a kind of intermittence d'occur, a short circuit between memory and present image, landing in a wobbling plane in the center of Brazil, at São Jesus da Lapa. The plane couldn't land because 2 sleepy dogs were stretched out in the middle of the cement runway, and they wouldn't move. What is the connection? None. This is how epiphanies work. But that day of long foreplay between me and the little book, the duel between my desire and the sultry resistance of the Alessandrian space, and who knows if the book wasn't only the screen, the mask of other desires that were already unnerving a body and an imagination that were neither flesh nor fowl? That long amorous peddling in the summer void, that circling flight, remain for all their awfulness a memory heartrending in its sweetness and, I would say, in its ethnic pride. This is how we are, like the city. To end the story, if you want me to, I finally made up my mind and bought the little book. As I recall, it was an imitation of the Atlantide of Pierre Benoit, but with an extra dash of Verne. As the sun set, I was shut up in the house, but I had already left Alessandria. I was navigating on the bed of silent seas. I was witnessing other sunsets and other horizons. My father, coming home, remarked that I read too much and said to my mother that I should spend more time outdoors. But, on the contrary, I was curing myself of the excess of space. Never exaggerate. I had a shock when, a bit older, I entered the university in Turin. The Turinese are French, or in any case Celts, not Ligurian barbarians like us. My new companions arrived in the halls of Palazzo Campana in the morning, wearing a proper shirt and a proper tie. They smiled at me and approached with hand extended. "Ciao, how are you?" Nothing like this had ever happened to me before. In Alessandria, when I ran into companions busy holding up a wall, they would look at me through half-closed eyelids and say, with shy cordiality, "Hey there, stupid." 90 kilometers away, and here was a different civilization. I am still so steeped in it that I persist in considering it superior. In our parts, you don't lie. When somebody shot at Togliatti there was great unrest. The Alessandrians do get excited, on occasion. They filled Piazza della Libertà, the former Piazza Rattazzi. But then the radio was heard from the loudspeakers, spreading the news of Gino Bartali's victory in the Tour de France. This superb mass media operation, we learned afterwards, worked throughout Italy. In Alessandria it didn't work quite well enough. We are too smart. You can't make us forget about Togliatti by broadcasting news of a bicycle race. But then, suddenly, an airplane appeared over City Hall. This may have been the first time a plane flew over Alessandria with an advertising banner. I don't remember what it was advertising. This was no diabolical stratagem. It was chance. The Alessandrian distrusts diabolical stratagems, but he is very indulgent towards chance. The crowd watched the plane. Here's something a bit unusual. Why? What will they think up next? They come up with a new one every minute. With detachment everyone expressed his opinion, his personal, profound conviction that, in any case, the matter would have no influence on the general curve of entropy or on the heat-death of the universe. These aren't their exact words, but this idea is always implicit in every word spoken in our Alessandrian dialect. Then everybody went home, because the day had no more surprises in store. Togliatti would have to fend for himself. I imagine that these stories, told to others, I mean, to non-Alessandrians, can be appalling. I find them sublime. I find them the equal of other sublime epiphanies offered us by the history of a city that manages to get itself built with the help of the Pope and the Lombard League, resists Barbarossa out of pigheadedness, but then doesn't take part in the Battle of Legnano. A city of which one legend tells how a queen called Pedoca comes from Germany to besiege. On her arrival, she plants some vineyards, saying she won't leave before she has drunk the wine made from their grapes. The siege lasts for 7 years, but a sequel to the legend says that Pedoca, defeated by the Alessandrians, pours onto the barren earth the wine from her casks in a furious ritual of rage and destruction, as if offering up a great and barbaric blood sacrifice. Pedoca, imaginative and poetic queen, punishes herself, renouncing her own pleasure in order to get drunk on massacre, even if it is only symbolic. The Alessandrians look on, take note, and derive, as their only conclusion, a way of indicating a person's stupidity, the expression, Verb seem, pedoka, clever like pedoka. Alessandria, where Saint Francis passes by and converts a wolf, as he did in Gubbio. But while Gubbio makes a big fuss over the event, Alessandria forgets. What is a saint supposed to do, if not convert wolves? And besides, how could they, the Alessandrians, understand this Umbrian visitor, a bit histrionic and a bit hysterical, who talks to birds instead of going out and working? Interested in their trade, the Alessandrians get into quarrels and wage wars. In 1282 they steal the chains from a bridge in Pavia and display them in the Duomo as a trophy. But after a while, the sacristan uses them to fix the fireplace in his kitchen, and nobody notices. They sack Casali, steal the angel from the spire of the cathedral, but, somehow or other, they end up losing it. If you leaf through the opening pages of the Guide to the Italy of Legend and Fantasy, where a series of charts illustrates the distribution of fantastic beings in the provinces of northern Italy, you will see that the province of Alessandria stands out thanks to its virginity. It has no witches, devils, fairies, sprites, mages, monsters, ghosts, caves, labyrinths, or buried treasure, saving its reputation thanks only to one, bizarre construction. You have to admit that's pretty slim pickings. Distrust of mystery. Distrust of the noumenon. A city without ideals and without passions. In a period when nepotism is a virtue, Pius V, the Alessandria-born pope, drives his relations out of Rome and tells them to look out for themselves. Inhabited for centuries by a rich Jewish community, Alessandria can't even work up enough energy to become anti-Semitic and ignores the injunction of the Inquisition. The Alessandrians have never worked up any enthusiasm for a heroic cause, not even one preaching the necessity of exterminating those who are different. Alessandria has never felt the need to impose a verbum by force of arms. It has given us no linguistic models for radio announcers, it has created no miracles of art that could inspire subscriptions to save them, it has never had anything to teach other nations, it has nothing for its sons to be proud of, nothing it has ever bothered to be proud of itself. But how proud people can feel, discovering themselves to be children of a city without bombast and without myths, without missions and without truths. Understanding fog. Alessandria is made up of great spaces. It is empty and sleepy. But all of a sudden, on certain evenings in autumn or winter, when the city is submerged in fog, the voids vanish, and from the milky grayness, in the beams of headlights, corners, edges, unexpected facades, dark perspectives emerge from nothingness, in a new play of nuanced forms, and Alessandria becomes beautiful. A city made to be seen in half-light, as you grope along, sticking to the walls. You must look for its identity not in sunshine but in haze. In the fog you walk slowly, you have to know the way if you don't want to get lost, but you always, somehow, arrive somewhere. Fog is good and loyally rewards those who know it and love it. Walking in fog is better than walking in snow, tramping it down with hobnailed boots, because the fog comforts you not only from below but also from above. You don't soil it, you don't destroy it, it enfolds you affectionately and resumes its form after you have passed. It fills your lungs like a good tobacco, it has a strong and healthy aroma, it strokes your cheeks and slips between your lapels and your chin, tickling your neck, it allows you to glimpse from the distance ghosts that dissolve as you move closer, or it lets you suddenly discern in front of you forms, perhaps real, that dodge you and disappear into the emptiness. Unfortunately, what you really need is a permanent war, with a blackout. It is only in such times that the fog is at its best, but you can't always have everything. In the fog you are sheltered against the outside world, face to face with your inner self. Nebulat ergo cogito. Luckily, when there is no fog on the Alessandrian plain, especially in the early morning, scarnebbia, as we say, it unfogs. A kind of nebulous dew, instead of illuminating the fields, rises to confuse sky and earth, lightly moistening your face. Now, in contrast to the foggy days, visibility is excessive, but the landscape remains sufficiently monochrome. Everything is washed in delicate hues of gray and nothing offends the eye. You have to go outside the city, along the secondary roads or, better, along the paths flanking a straight canal, on a bicycle, without a scarf, a newspaper stuffed under your jacket to protect your chest. On the fields of Marengo, open to the moon and where, dark between the Bormida and the Tanaro, a forest stirs and lows. 2 battles were won long ago, 1174 and 1800. The climate is invigorating. San Bartolino. The patron saint of Alessandria is Bartolino, O San Bartolino. From heaven protect our diocese and its faithful elect. This is his story, as told by Paulus Diaconus. In Liutprand's times, in a place that was called Foro, near the Tanaro, there shone a man of wondrous sanctity, who with the help of Christ's grace worked many miracles, and he often predicted the future and spoke of distant things as if they were present. Once, when the king had come to hunt in the forest of Orba, it so happened that one of his men, having taken aim at a stag, with his arrow wounded the nephew of the same king, the little son of his sister, by the name of Anfuso. Seeing this, Liutprand, who greatly loved the boy, began to weep over his misfortune and immediately sent one of his knights to the man of God, Bartolino, begging him to implore Christ to spare the life of the unhappy boy. Here I will interrupt the quotation for a moment, to allow the reader to make his own predictions. What would a normal saint, not Art Alessandrian, in other words, have done in this situation? Now we will resume the story, again giving Paulus the floor. As the knight set off, the boy died. Whereupon the prophet, seeing the man arrive, spoke to him thus: I know the reason why you have come, but what you ask is impossible, because the boy is already dead. On hearing these words, the king, distressed though he was at not having had his prayer answered, still openly recognized that Baudolino, the man of the Lord, was gifted with the spirit of prophecy. I would say that Lutprand behaves well and understands the lesson of a great saint. Which is that, in real life, you can't perform too many miracles. And the wise man is he who bears necessity in mind. Baudolino performs another miracle, convincing a credulous Langobard that miracles are rare merchandise. 1965 to 901 T.A. Sebuk, The Owls and Their Master, in Zeus Biotics, Bloomington, Indiana. Donald Duckworth, 1999. Back. Asterisk. 2 Lee Falk and Ray Moore, The Phantom and the Jungle Owls, Bunder City, 1936. Back. Asterisk. 3. Text, Context, Cotext and Cocotext, in Textuals, Texas University Press, 1978. Back. Asterisk. 4 Camille Paglia, Love on the Chest of Drawers, Vanity Unfair 3-3, 1990. Back. Asterisk. 5 Erica Jong, Dating a Text, Frequent Flyers 3, 1989. Back. Asterisk 6 Eric Siegel, Historia Nocti, Archive für Lateinische Allgemeine Kurswissenschaften XXXL Philosophy, New Haven and London, Yale University Press, 1974. 242. Jones seeks a horse.